But it's still
hard for Becky to get over.
adjourned, so
I don't.
just leave it.
So you know.
And the only thing
Is it has my ink
I
pen.
haven't hit him yet.
Pen.
Is it just leave it off? I was like, well, it's very low, so you can't really.
Rural.
Question. Ah, here it is.
Oh, yeah. Jessica?
I read that letter.
He's just not gonna. What else is to put on there? There's no more stuff, unless we don't vote on anything.
Good enough.
Think that-
Peanut butter. Leave it on.
Put stuff on there.
And
But we don't have anything to
How do I
discuss
know?
specifically.
actually, when it's,
Yeah, we didn't have it, because we haven't had anything to discuss. The only way to discuss this meeting first.
Yes, I can.
Absolutely.
Right on the motion.
I didn't put it on there. but
Just
I
other things.
It's down there, we got here, we need to say yes, these are our annual.
I mean, I don't want to leave.
Camera, cancel it. Haven't got back to me, so I'm just gonna put motion subject to its attorney approval for language.
Okay.
That's right.
11 what? No.
11.4. I was just gonna write it out for, if you knew at the moment.
It is Brett that does fine. He's not here, and neither is Dana or,
Sherry Branson, how many fingers am I holding?
He's not here either.
Enough.
What's the wording then?
I'm just gonna say subject,
Who are you holding up?
I
attorney.
guess I want to see that, like, as it affects the other stuff, you know what I mean?
Hey, was I supposed to be at that meeting?
Draws up new plans.
I can just say that
I was supposed to be there.
we're just,
Okay, then I'll just,
I'm not against it.
somebody will make it.
What did I miss?
nope, I think you just read it to begin. You know what I mean, to just start out.
Okay,
Gonna be,
Man, I spread out all over.
just let me know.
I need room.
that's all I did was smash mine by the end of this year.
Okay, yeah.
And
Like,
in our,
I don't like, that's fine.
Very fun.
For bed.
pardon,
I'm ready for bed.
I was ready for good.
Hey, Ron.
Being up till 3 o'clock in the morning, thing's killing me.
I'm working 18-hour days, like, all week. Normally,
Oh, yeah.
it's pretty chill, and then it just.
Brian, hey, Brian. I know you're Brent's keeper.
Has to.
Coming tonight?
I'm not,
I got one of these.
he said he'd be here tonight. I texted him and
Sherry Branson's thinking at all.
said he.
I know.
He's an Italian,
RAGGANO.
authentic one.
But anyway, he's running in three, but we've got two Democrats running too. Not the ones that I thought would run.
It's gotta go all the way around.
Ron.
Oh, it just came to me from that.
No, I think it did. It went all the way around, Sherry.
Brandon's coming,
Yeah.
and Ray is here. Two
And
people.
Ray is here.
You're a bad thing.
I have been
You're stuck here until
a day
2026.
and a half, and I'm at four Sunday.
Ron, you my partner today?
Yeah.
It was weird, it was all. Oh, it did.
He's there, right?
Yeah.
It's been brutal, buddy. It's been brutal.
I do?
I love that.
Get every morning.
That's how it started, I hate to.
I can still see her like happy little face.
Yes.
At the party.
That's pretty funny.
Controls, take
That's pretty accurate, though.
the transload stuff. Put hay in.
She has it already on audio because she's didn't want to mess with the.
And we had cattle out last night.
We're
Yeah, my kid gets
not
down
go
Deer everywhere. Giant bucks.
Yeah.
in Patton.
Somebody got one over there Sunday afternoon, I guess.
Brandon, all six.
Dad, I want to do.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what it was. But he got
He
one.
just needed meat in the freezer.
Someday.
Was there anybody
That's the way I hunt.
that was remoting?
If I see one, it might happen to fall under the loader or something.
Yeah, I don't think it's going on.
I don't think I
That
could.
way it wouldn't be good.
It would be good.
It came back.
No, it would just scab over and it would look.
And Dave hasn't gotten it because he just got here. Well, just send it back that way so that Dave can sign it. Oh, the card. I thought you were sending the candy. Sorry. Everybody's got to sign the card.
All right, we ready?
Bad.
If they don't want to sing.
What did you do to your fingers?
Sure, mine with you.
I was carrying some weight plates up from the basement steps, or from the basement.
All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday, January 18th, 2024 Boone County. If you'll do me a favor, everyone rise, please, and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance and a short invocation.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, thank you for bringing us together this evening to do the county's business. Let us govern with compassion, have civil discussions, and move the Boone County forward. Bless first responders, police, fire, ambulance, and those service military that protect our nation every day. And just a special shout out to the snowplow drivers and the road workers that worked diligently this last week and their hard efforts braving the weather and the elements. We pray in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Okay. Madam Clerk, if you call the roll, please.
Ralphie Riley. Here. Brian Curry.
Here.
Ray Larson.
Here.
Brett Mueller. Brian Schneider.
Here.
David Wiltsey.
Here.
Carl Johnson.
Here.
Lisa Patterson.
Here.
Tom Wahlberg.
Here.
Sherry Branson.
Here.
Dana Logston.
Here.
Marion Thornburg.
Here.
Very good, thank you. I need a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting. Motion by Mr. Schneider, second.
Second.
Mr. Larson, any discussion on the agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Minutes, I need a motion to approve October 19th, 2023 and November 16th, 2023 County Board meeting minutes. Motion by Mr. Logston, second by Mr. Schneider. Any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 5.1, no appointments this evening. Public comment, 6.1, we had nobody comment tonight. No slips were turned in, no emails tonight, I don't think. All right. Long. 7 point where the general consent items. Motion to approve the general consent.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Curry, second.
Second.
Second by Ms. Patterson. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Committee reports, 8.1, Council on Aging. Ms. Patterson?
I just have May 17th is the Boone County Council on Aging golf outing. It is our biggest fundraiser of the year. So if anybody's in town, we will be sponsorships and always looking for golfers as well. So if anybody's interested, you can contact the Boone County Council on Aging directly, or you can reach out to me and I can help you out.
Very good. Anyone have any questions for Ms. Patterson? All right, seeing none, we'll move on. Anyone from Growth Dimensions on the phone tonight?
There is.
There is? Okay. Is it Pam?
Yes, thank you very much.
Yes, go ahead, Pam. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. I received or put some information in front of you, my report, as well as some information about some upcoming events. First, regarding our report, we're going to be making some changes in the upcoming year to this report, maybe breaking down in pieces the information. Also, based on some feedback, we're going to be providing some historical data and comparisons from year to year, but really would appreciate any kind of information that we could provide you that makes it useful and provide you with the data points that you would like to see to show the economic impact in Boone County. I also have some good news. I spoke with MRS today. They are looking to make an announcement next week for some their new location, Greenfield, that they purchased last year. They are looking to invest over $45 million, 50 jobs for a 200,000 square foot building, expandable to 350,000 square foot for a cold storage facility. At this time, they're not going to announce their the partnership that they have with this other company, but they will be making some announcements next week. So it's very good news. This was the project that we were competing with Wisconsin. So it's good to have the year start off with such an announcement and development. Also, we've been working with Stellantis on their projects. We have been working with them and connecting them with resources available at the Rockford Airport, as well as resources and maybe a training plan with the Rock Valley College Technology Center. And there are other programs throughout Rock Valley College. We also supported a grant that they're applying for the Reduction Act Domestic Manufacturing Conversion Grant. This will help them make modifications necessary in order to uh, make some changes to the Belvedere assembly plant to make it more EV ready. So we are in support of that, and we look forward to helping them as they move forward. Their first priorities are going to be that Belvedere assembly plant and the Mopar facility, which will be the hub for parts in the region. And as you know, Growth Dimensions had relocated its offices, and I want to thank everyone for being able to attend our open house. We had well over 80 people that came. It was a great celebration, and we couldn't have done it without the support of our board and other partners. Some of the partners that contributed to some resources were Comcast Business, Ullman Ernest, Martin Architects for Construction, Northwest Illinois Alliance of Realtors, Petrie Design, LHC Properties, and our board members and staff who contributed to some of the work in painting and decorating and some of the materials there. So I want to thank everybody for that. Also wanted to share that we're meeting with Congressman LaHood next Tuesday in order to share some of our local priorities, some of the projects that have been announced and those that we've been working on, and to also gain some support for some of the applications that many people within the region have put toward helping support infrastructure and other projects. So so if there's any concerns or issues that you would like us to bring forward, please let me know. And last, I wanted to share the two programs that we have coming up. One is in collaboration with the Foreign Trade Zone. There's going to be an open house on the 25th of January at Capitol Warehousing. And that is in order to talk about the benefits of the trade and benefits of working in a foreign trade zone and getting foreign trade zone approved. So we want people to be more aware of how they can offset their costs in transporting goods abroad, to and from abroad, I should say. And then we're also having a navigating laws and legislation session. This is our first one that we're hosting. We have a legislative committee as part of Growth Dimensions, and they want to discuss some issues that are facing businesses. This first session, we're going to be focusing on 4 areas: Biometric Information Privacy Act, the Day and Temporary Labor Services Act, Packaging EPR, and Paid Leave for All Workers Act. And we thought that having that conversation with businesses, hearing from businesses and how these things are affecting them, and having legislators and elected officials listen, and so they know basically what are those issues are, how they can support the business, how they can support growth and attraction to our community. Again, this is one, and we hope there'll be many series, and we invite everybody to attend and listen to businesses. And please feel free to share this with others to engage more business engagement into this. Talked to General Mills today, and they said, yes, these are topics that are all facing us. These are really good topics to discuss. So, we want to hear how this is affecting them, why it's affecting them, and what we can do to help support these businesses. So we welcome everybody to attend, but I'm available if there's any questions.
Thank you, Pam. Does anybody have any questions for Pam? How are the things at the new office?
It's wonderful. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. I want to thank you all for the plant. It makes it feel like home. It's going to allow us a lot more confidentiality, open for business, and it just makes our ability to our processes a lot more efficient as a team. So I do have to say that we've really enjoyed this new location. But thank you again for your support.
All right, very good. Anyone else? All right, Pam, thank you very much for your report. Before
you.
we go on to 8.3, I'd just like to note in the record that Brett Mueller joined the meeting at 6:38 PM. Welcome, Brett. Moving on to 8.3, court-appointed special advocate. Mr. Curry, I think you had a report and maybe a guest tonight?
Yeah, Charlotte is going to come up and report on CASA. Give us a lowdown on what's going on.
Favor, would you step up to the podium, give your full name and address for the record, please, and would love to hear from you.
Sure. Do you want the office address?
That's fine.
Fantastic. Charlotte Meyer, I'm the director of Boone County CASA. Our office is located in the PNC Bank building, which is 130 South State Street here in Belvedere. So first, I just want to thank you guys for approving funding again for us this year. We know that there's a lot of avenues that funding could go to, and we appreciate your support. Want to give a brief kind of rundown of 2023, or the last part of 2023. That's kind of our main time of giving back to the community. We know that we receive a lot of support from the community, and we try really hard to then give back to those in need. So part of that was sponsoring a tree during hometown Christmas and giving some gift cards and decorations and things like that at the community building. We also handed out goodies at the hometown Christmas parade and braved that fun weather, if anybody was there. And then our big thing was this year, in past years, we've done our giving tree, which is when we collect items for the local baby bank. And this year we partnered with the Maternal Child Health Advisory Council through the health department and had trees in several locations and donation boxes in several locations, as well as through the FFA at Belvedere High School and the National Honor Society at Belvedere North. And so we were able to collect a much larger amount of diapers and wipes and pacifiers and formula and items that are, there's some families in need in our community. And so we were very thankful for everyone who donated to that and supported, and we hope to continue doing that in future years. So I did hand out a really brief synopsis of kind of numbers of kids that we're currently serving and have in the past couple of years. I'm always scared to say this, but our numbers are down a little bit. I don't want to jinx us. We're thankful to have a little bit of a lull. As you can see, in past years, we've served 109 and 198. So unfortunately, I'm thankful I have a job, but also I would love to not have one, because I would love, the need to not be there. We're currently serving 62 children, and I have 24 advocates, with 19 of them having cases. We do have a new advocate training that starts at the end of the month. And I have 4 currently registered, which is pretty amazing as well. So we're thankful to have them. We have our Icon Show, our yearly Icon Show, coming up on February 25th. That's at 1:30 at the community building. It's a Sunday. And we have 3 local performers, as well as the band behind them, performing. They're outlaws and crooners is what they're calling it, but a variety of country music. So tickets will go on sale beginning of February, and we'd love to have you join us. And then we're just gearing up and kind of planning for April, which is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and all the good things that come with that. But I'll be back before then to show you all that good stuff. So that's what we have going on at CASA right now.
Okay, anyone have any questions do you have anything to add, Mr. Curry? Or?
I do not. She covered it all. So.
All right, sounds good. Anybody have any questions for CASA? Ms. Patterson?
Just one, if I could. Do you have a goal of how many advocates that you have per, you don't want them to have 10. So is there like a ratio that you're looking for?
Like advocate per child?
Yeah.
So they are, an advocate is assigned to a family. So it's however many children are in that family. So they could, some of our advocates are only assigned to one child.
Okay, and might be 5.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so it's per family. Okay, all right, thank you very much.
There is the option that the advocate, if they are available and want to, they could be assigned to a second case. And we do have a couple of advocates that are assigned to 2 cases, but
okay, perfect. Thank you.
They're volunteers and we don't want to overwhelm anybody.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else for CASA? Thank you very much for your report.
Thank you.
Good evening. All right, we'll move along to 8.4, Region 1. We don't have anybody from Region 1 on the phone, do we? I don't think. Nothing tonight? Okay. Moving on to new business, 9.1. Let's see here. I need a motion to approve Resolution 24-02 and Resolution 24-03, sale of surplus property.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Branson, second by Mr. Mueller. Any discussion? Mr. Wiltie?
Just that it would be helpful for me to track it on that program I have for lots that the county has to clean them up and so forth, that both this board and the Cannabis board is, if that resolution would simply include the property address. I know it's in the cover memo, but it would be nice if it was in the resolution as well.
Comment?
No, I mean, in the future, we can add the commonly known as address. I'm not sure who prepares them, but I'll pass on that.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions on 9.1? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry, I do have roll call. Sorry, thank you, Trish. All right, Madam Clerk, if you would call the roll, please. Sorry.
Rodney Riley.
Yes.
Brian Curry.
Yes.
Ray Larson.
Aye.
Brent Mueller.
Aye.
Brian Schneider.
Aye.
David Wiltsey.
Aye.
Carl Johnson.
Aye.
Elisa Patterson.
Yes.
Tom Wahlberg.
Yes.
Sherry Branson.
Yes.
Dana Logston. Marion Thornberry.
Yes.
Motion passes. All right, we're going to move on to Committee of the Whole Administration. Mr. Larson, 10.1, if you'd make your motion, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 10.1, I motion to approve ordinance 24-02 A-22-2023 37XX Wyman School Road, A1 to A2.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Larson, second by Mr. Curry. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, if you call the roll, please.
Ryan Curry.
Yes.
Ray Larson.
Aye.
Brent Mueller.
Aye.
Brian Schneider.
Yes.
David Wiltsey.
Aye.
Carl Johnson.
Aye.
Elisa Patterson.
Yes.
Tom Wahlberg.
Yes.
Sherry Branson.
Yes.
Dana Logston.
Yes.
Marion Thornberry.
Yes.
Rodney Riley.
Yes. Motion passes. Mr. Larson?
10.2, motion to approve special use permit 05-2022 extension request.
Motion by Mr. Larson, second by Mr. Schneider. Any discussion? Seeing none on this one, Madam Clerk, if you call the roll, please.
Ray Larson.
Aye.
Brent Mueller.
Aye.
Brian Schneider.
Aye.
David Wiltsey.
Aye.
Carl Johnson.
Aye.
Elisa Patterson.
Yes.
Tom Wahlberg.
Yes.
Sherry Branson.
Yes.
Dana Logston.
Yes.
Marion Thornberry.
Yes.
Rodney Riley.
Yes.
Ryan Curry.
Yes.
Motion carries. Mr. Larson?
Item 10.3, a motion to approve ordinance 24-01, special use permit 23-2023, Prairie North LLC Solar, 72XX Illinois Route 76.
Motion by Mr. Larson, second.
Second.
Sorry, was that you, Mr. Curry?
It was.
Mr. Curry, second. Any discussion?
This is the one the applicant wants.
Yeah. And if the applicant's here and wants to speak?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Seth Upoff. My address is 5901 North Prospect Road, Peoria, Illinois, 61614. I am here with the team from Trajectory Energy Partners, which is an Illinois-based developer and operator of community solar farms. And we're here tonight in relation to the Prairie North Solar Project. If we could go to the next slide, please. Now, I know that a good number of you were at the committee of the whole meeting where this project was discussed, so I'll try not to belabor too many of the points. But for those of you who weren't here, I did want to go through and recap some of the evidence that was presented to the ZBA and talk about the project in that context. And as I know you know, as county board member, one of those particular situations where you take off your legislator hat and you put on your judge hat, because in these scenarios, you're supposed to base your decision solely on the evidence that was presented to the ZBA. And so I want to recap some of that evidence presented for your consideration. This is a project that is located just north of Poplar Grove on the west side of Route 76. You can see the site plan up here. Something to note is that the parcel to the north is owned by the same landowner. So that area there, and then the 40 that the parcel sits on, 40 acres, all of that combined is approximately 62, 63 acres, all owned by the same landowner, all of it's farmed. This project is seeking to be sited in the 21 acres that's tucked away in the southwest corner. That location was picked because it creates a situation where it's furthest from any potential residential neighbors, and it also diminishes the visibility of the project from Route 76. The remaining 40 plus 42 acres or so is going to continue to be farmed. And this 21 acres represents a very tiny fraction of the farmable land here in Boone County. Boone has over 100,000 acres of farmland. So if this project were to be built, this 21 acres would constitute less than 0.019%, meaning less than 0.02% of the farmland in Boone County. So the farmland you have now versus the farmland you'd have after, if this project were to be built, you would still have 99.98% of your farmland remaining. So it really is a tiny fraction of the farmland, and it's only being taken out as a temporary use. It's not a permanent use, it's a temporary use. When this lease ends, this land would be returned back into the agricultural state that it is now. The rules for decommissioning is that the land has to be returned back to the same or better condition than it is now. And there was testimony at the ZBA that by allowing this land to lay fallow and having the vegetative ground cover on it that's planned, as that vegetative ground cover composts year after year for the term of the lease, that will actually serve to rejuvenate the soil so that at the end of this project, the testimony was that they believe the soil will be in better condition than it is currently. And at that point, it can be returned back to active farmland. So it is a small amount of land that's being taken out of production, but it is a temporary use. In exchange for that, you get an enormous number of benefits. So there are the environmental benefits and ecological benefits of the area, but there are also the economic benefits for the community. Those economic benefits include the jobs that are created during construction. We had 2 union members come and testify to the ZBA about the importance of these jobs and how these jobs have affected their lives and would be beneficial for the union members around this area. They also commented about how those union members spend their money in this area. So in addition to creating those jobs, there's an economic influx that comes along with that. One of the biggest economic benefits is the taxes. So the local taxing bodies that that get to tax this particular parcel will see a significant increase in the real estate taxes from just the 21 acres that this project would sit on. The greatest benefactor of that would be the local school district. I believe the numbers showed during ZBA that over the life of this project, there would probably be approximately $290,000 that would go to the local school district. And that they're getting all of those benefits, that benefit, whether it's the taxing bodies, the county, the schools, without any additional burdens. So typically for a school to get an influx like that, it would mean that there was a new subdivision built or a new set of houses that were coming into the area. But here, and when you have that, you have additional utilities, you have additional students that are tying up more resources. Here you get all the benefits of the tax dollars without any additional burdens. So all the benefits and none of the burdens that come along with it. There's also the opportunity for the community to save on your utility bills by subscribing to the project. Community Solar is a subscription-based program, allows subscribers to have discounts every month on their utilities if they sign up. The project also met all of the other requirements of the state siting legislation, your county ordinances, and the findings of fact that Boone County requires for permits. So because it met all of those factors, it was recommended for approval by your zoning department. And ultimately, after hearing all the evidence, the ZBA voted to recommend that you approve the project as well. Now, when we were here for the committee of the whole meeting, it was made clear that the factors that Boone County also has were a significant issue in this case. And if we could go to the next slide, please. Boone County has 9 additional factors for solar farms for your consideration. But you'll see that these are supposed to be applied as a balancing test. It's supposed to be a set of scales, and you're supposed to balance these factors. And it was determined via the evidence that 8 of the 9 factors have been met for this project. So if you're thinking of the scales, you've got 8 on one side and then 1 on the other. I would argue that tips heavily in terms of supporting this project and approving this permit. But it was made clear at the committee of the whole meeting that that one remaining factor was a deciding factor for at least several of you. That if that factor was not met, you couldn't approve the project. So that was a make it or break it factor for you. I don't think that fits with the balancing test that you're required to follow, but that's what was expressed. So with 8 of the 9 being in favor of this project, with all of the other requirements of the ordinance having been met, with a recommendation for approval from zoning and from the ZBA, I think that you have here a project that earned a permit. And I think if you go back to when you had your legislator hats on and you created the ordinance that you have, you were setting out for the public a set of rules and requirements. And you were saying to the public, look, here are our rules, here are our requirements. If you meet those, you're entitled to a permit. But now that somebody has come along and filed an application, has followed your rules, has met every single one of your requirements, has met all the state requirements, has met all the findings of fact that you require, it now seems like you're changing the rules at the end of the game. And you're saying there's this one factor out of 9, and that's the deciding factor. So even though you've done everything we've asked you to do, this one factor still causes you not to get your permit. And I guess my question to you is, how is that fair? How is it fair that you set out the rules, you set out the requirements, and then when somebody meets those, you move the goalpost? You do what they have to do, you change the rules at the end of the game. And I guess I would ask, how do you justify denying a project that meets all of your rules and requirements, that meets 8 out of your 9 factors for consideration, and you deny it based on one item that is not even a requirement? So I think the evidence shows, if you put your judge hat on, or your judge robe, if you will, the evidence that you're supposed to consider, I believe, shows that this is a project that has met all the requirements, is deserving of a permit. So we respectfully request that you approve the permit for this project.
All right, very good. Thank you, sir. All right, open it up for discussion. Mr. Walberg?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. I'm not anti-solar. In fact, I voted for solar. I am interested in getting them in the right locations that's mutually beneficial for Boone County landowners and residents. To say that you have met all is not an accurate statement if there's one that is not met. That one is very important to me. It's very important to our county. We voted unanimously, this board voted unanimously with our ordinance, okay? So for you to come in here and say that really upsets me. And I'll tell you, yes, prime farmland may be a relative term. It's not relative to me. It's not relative to this board, because we have identified prime farmland as Class A and Class B soil types. We have allowed solar in our ordinance to be put on Class C soil types. This farm is not that. So for that reason, and the Soil and Water has, in their findings and facts, has voted or has discouraged this approval of this project as well. So I cannot support this based on an ordinance that I was very instrumental in helping create along with other members of this board.
Mr. Walberg, thank you. Ms. Patterson?
At the ZBA meeting on December 19th, Mrs. Jean Ramsey submitted a letter to the ZBA in opposition to the Prairie North Solar Special Use Permit. In addition to Mrs. Ramsey's letter, she also spoke publicly in opposition to the solar farm. During that same meeting on December 19th, Mrs. Ramsey noted the following. The Boone County Comprehensive Plan has a goal to preserve prime farmland. Boone County Soil and Water opposed the special use citing the LE score as well as erosion. Erosion is particularly important during construction as protective vegetation will not be present. Once topsoil is eroded away, it cannot be replaced. For the welfare and residents of Boone County, this request for special use should be denied. Mrs. Ramsey also sent an email on January 4th, 2024, opposing the Prairie North Solar Special Use Permit, again citing the above concerns. Mrs. Ramsey spoke publicly at the Boone County Administration meeting also on January 4th, opposing the solar project. According to our ordinance, which is 422.13, I believe that the establishment I don't believe, but the established maintenance or operation of the commercial solar energy facility will not be detrimental to or endanger the public health, safety, morals, comfort, or general welfare. Mrs. Ramsey's letter and comments address her concerns of morals, comfort, and general welfare as an adjacent landowner and neighbor of the proposed Prairie North Solar project. She also noted in public comment that no one knows if you can put agriculture back in its original state. The commercial solar energy facility will not be injurious to the uses and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for the purposes already permitted. Mrs. Ramsey's letter addresses her concerns about erosion as well as the soil having severe limitations as a site for solar arrays due to the deterioration of the underground steel structures. C, I believe that my comments made above also apply to this. F, the proposed commercial solar energy facility is not contrary to the objectives of the current comprehensive plan of the county. Mrs. Ramsey references in her letter to the ZBA that the Boone County Comprehensive Plan has a goal to preserve prime agricultural land. This also encompasses the citing from the Boone County Soil and Water Conservation District, providing an unfavorable opinion of the proposed project due to a LISA score of 85.19 and permanent displacement of prime farmland. The parcel is currently cropland and soil disturbance will be disturbed as a result of developing the site. H, I believe the comments I've made above also apply to this. And at Mrs. Ramsey's request, that this special use permit be denied as an adjacent landowner and neighbor of the proposed Prairie North Solar Project.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Patterson. Ms. Branson.
Yes, at the ZBA.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yes.
I have to lodge an objection at this point in time and ask that Ms. Branson be recused or excluded from participating in the county board's discussion and vote on this particular matter. Ms. Branson testified at the ZBA hearing, and therefore I believe that makes her ineligible to participate and vote in the county board proceedings on this matter.
I had no intention of.
Hang on.
To use a layman's example, in a case, in a trial, you can't be both the witness and the judge. She chose to testify as a witness, and so she cannot now sit as a judge. And I believe that also includes her participating in discussion. If she participates in discussion, she will be, I believe, tainting the vote of the board. And so I would object to her involvement, and I would ask that she be recused from discussion and vote.
Okay. Before I ask the state's attorney, just one quick question, Counselor. You didn't raise this last week?
She was not present at last week's meeting, so there was no issue to raise. I was waiting to see whether she intended to participate until she, there's no objection the minute she decided to participate.
I understand. You're correct. That's my mistake. I'm sorry. Madam State's Attorney.
Doing a little research on this, I think that the applicant is able to lodge that objection. However, Ms. Branson also has free speech and also can participate. I think that we can take into consider, or that lodging the objection is noted on the record. And I mean, I'm not in a position, like, I don't make a ruling in this situation. Ms. Branson can recuse herself at this time based on the comments if she would like to. She can also participate if she would want to. And I guess if litigation goes forward, it would be an issue for the court to decide whether she should have participated or not.
Good. Ms. Branson?
Now, after all of that, I'm going to say what I started to say, because I believe that our board members have a reason, have deserved to know why I have to abstain. And that is because I did speak at the ZBA. I did not speak as for or against, but I did point out the Lisa score. And then the Prairie Stars attorney apparently contacted our attorney and asked that I recuse myself from the vote. So I will be abstaining on the vote.
All right, thank you, Ms. Branson. Mr. Thornberry?
First off, I need to object to him coming in here and objecting to someone on this board from doing her job. You tell somebody on this board that she can't testify, anybody, him or she, they can't do their job that they have been voted to do by the people in this community. You're denying those people representation, and I think that's against the law. You can't deny representation. And she represents District 3 on this county. When you deny her rights on this board, you're denying those people in District 3 no representation on this board. And that can't be allowed by you or a judge. Secondly, you give us all this data about how this is going to benefit our community. But one factor you didn't factor into your presentation is the fact that you're taking one of the best farmlands in this community out of production just so you can stick a solar farm on it. You can do the same thing by going just down the street here and putting it on a city dump that's still sitting there waiting for a solar system to be put on it. But that's too hard. You got to work for that. It's easier to go to somebody who's wanting to get out of farming and not let them sell their land to somebody who wants to continue farming, but you pay him a bunch of money to sit there and keep the land so you can use it. Also, in this county, our farmland is a lot more important, and that's a state record that you can go look up anywhere you want to. That is more important in this community than any solar system that ever comes in here. I'm not against solar, I'm for solar. When you put it on the city dump, not on A1 agriculture. So like the rest of them in here, we're going to be voting no on this because all the evidence you've got is good. I agree with it. You've met everything except the most important one. You haven't met what we need, and we need farmland more than we need solar. I'll be voting no also.
Okay. Mr. Wilson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me just say parenthetically that as city attorney for Des Plaines for 19 years, I always urged my aldermen not to go to ZBA meetings, and if they did go to ZBA meetings, not to testify or speak before that. So I think Ms. Branson is doing the appropriate thing of recusing herself or abstaining. That's the first thing. And that would be appropriate. It creates an unnecessary procedural wrinkle when you have the fact-finding group, the ZBA, having testimony from elected officials from this board. And then you go up to our level and we're supposed to be looking at that. And so thank you, Sherry, for an appropriate decision. So now turning to the issues at hand, if I told you in a vacuum that I had a way to lock up a piece of 85% at least a score of land for 20 years so that it wouldn't be developed in a different manner, and it could be remain agriculture, whether it was farmed or not, you might think that's a good way to land bank. If I told you that in addition to that, there'd be no pesticides on that property for that time, creek running between those two portions of the property. If I told you also that it was a going to be planted with pollinator plants directed toward the bees so that the bees could be pollinating. You all know how there have been some significant issues regarding bee colonies and the health of bees as it relates to agriculture and pollinating flowers, plants, and crops. So that's also a factor. And that the land would lay fallow for 20 years, rejuvenating itself. If I gave you that hypothetical, you might say, oh, that's pretty interesting. But then I told you if it was only 21 acres. And I've learned on this board as a non-farmer that anything less than 40 is a little difficult to cultivate because of the size of some of the modern equipment. So all of those hypothetical factors exist in this case. They're not hypothetical. They're actually there. Now, look at this as another way. If the landowner of this property decides, well, the heck with it, I'm just going to put in one of those other uses that are allowed in A1, bam, it's gone from agriculture. And he can do that. Or she could do that if it was a she. And then I want you to think about one more thing. This property is 500 feet off of 76. It won't be visible. What if this landowner comes back and wants a wind farm? What do you think we can do to stop that? Almost nothing. Remember that the reason the General Assembly enacted this legislation and we had to change our ordinance is they're trying to limit the way that county boards, frankly, operate when it comes to approving these kinds of items. I think this is a good project. I think it's a small piece of property. I know the Lisa score is high, but it's one of 9 factors. And it may be for many of us a more important factor than the others, but it's only one of 9 factors. This is supposed to be a balancing test. And for that reason, and for the record before the ZBA, I will in fact be voting yes. Thank you.
Mr. Mueller?
So I've got some other reasons why I'm not for this solar system. I know the ZBA has all those nice things up there, but there's some underlying facts that have come with additional power generation in the utility system. If they can sign off and say that it will not affect the local animal agricultural in Boone County, I'd be kind of for these things. But there's an issue of stray ground current in Boone County. Mac was out at our farm. He saw the pictures and he knows where I'm coming from. And if these things want to generate power and not have lost words right here. They're generating power outside the sources where power plants are now. You go to a substation, that substation's overloaded. You guys say you limited the load that's going in there, but why did all of a sudden ComEd has put out 17 voltage regulators in our area? Because they know that these things are putting out a lot more power than what you guys are regulating for, to slow it down. And when they put a voltage regulator in, that puts the current to the earth. So I'm just gonna have to vote no with this, and I'm gonna go off with Miss Jean Ramsey's, what she had said in the ZBA. I'm gonna have to back at what she says, because she is my constituent in my area, so.
Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman, may I respond to?
Yes, sir.
Just a couple of things. Miss, could you go up to the first slide in the slideshow? I'm sorry, whoever was running it, sir.
That'd be myself.
All right, sir. All right, thank you.
Looking good.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, could you go up?
This one?
Up to, there you go, right there.
There on the side is on.
That is a photograph from the site from this fall, after harvest, obviously. So the reason I wanted to put this up there was in relation to Miss Ramsey's objections. Miss Ramsey was objecting because she was worried about erosion. She was worried that there wouldn't be any ground cover during construction. It was testified that the construction process would be approximately, I think, 12 weeks, if I remember the testimony correctly. This is the state of the ground that, and the way that it's been It was harvested, and that's the way that'll be until it's planted and the crops are up. So every year, year after year, as long as this farmer continues to use conventional tillage, the ground will be exposed. There will be no vegetative ground cover. So the reason I point that out is if Ms. Ramsey's concerned about erosion, I don't know what she's doing to talk to the farmers and her neighbor in this particular instance about no-till to prevent erosion, because this year after year prevents a much greater opportunity for erosion than does a short construction period for a solar farm, followed by vegetative ground cover year-round, year after year for the life of the lease. So I just wanted to point that out as it relates to Ms. Ramsey's testimony. Mr. Wahlberg, I understand your position, but I just want to clarify one thing. I have tried to be very careful, and I believe I have been careful when I've said that we have met every requirement that you have put in front of us. We have met all of those requirements. The only thing that hasn't been met is a factor. That is not a requirement. It's a factor. So I wasn't trying to come in here and deceive the board. I wasn't trying to come in here and misstate the facts. The fact is we have met all of your requirements, but it's a factor that you're saying that we have not met. So as to the other issues and items that were put out there, Mr. Thornberry, I didn't make the choice for Ms. Branson to testify. She made that choice. I believe under the law that prevents her from participating in this, it's my obligation on behalf of my clients to make that objection. I'm sorry you find the objection objectionable, but it was a choice that Ms. Branson made. And as this gentleman over here, Mr. Wiltsey, commented on, I think it's inappropriate for an individual to participate in a trial as a witness and then turn around and be the judge in that same situation. So that's why we lodged our objection. So again, I believe that you have here in front of you a project that met all the requirements set out. So respectfully, we are asking you to grant the permit.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Curry, do you have a comment?
Yeah, just a quick one.
Sure.
You mentioned comprehensive plan, and we do have one of those. It shows us where we should develop in our county and has all kinds of different requirements. And yes, you met a lot of the requirements. We wouldn't be in this position if the state representatives who are supposed to represent the people of Boone County actually did so. It's lawmakers in Chicago that don't look at farmland, that place policy like this on people like us.
That's true.
They're not putting solar panels over their high rises or their buildings over their windows, so all they have to look at are shitty solar panels all day. They are putting it out here on us and not listening to the people who actually farm the land, work the land, live the land. Okay? So I look at you as the same kind of. You're from Peoria, you say you're a farmer, but I don't know if you're really a farmer. If I were you, I'd be telling everybody here I was a farmer too. So we had to put these, a lot of these hearing factors, okay, our opinion, okay? I could probably turn 5 of these around and fit my narrative, okay? Number 1, will not be detrimental to the danger of the public safety, morals, comfort, and general welfare. I could probably make up a couple reasons. Will not be injurious to the uses and enjoyment of the property, the immediate vicinity. Now, how do you know that? Did you talk to all of the neighbors and is that something they want to look at? Does that hinder their way of life to look at solar panels all day? Did you talk to neighbors?
The testimony that was presented to the ZBA is that all the neighbors were contacted.
Okay. And they were all in favor of this?
Some of the neighbors were in favor, some of them didn't have a position and they didn't come.
I guess I could uncheck number 2, right?
No, they didn't come to testify. You have to base it on the evidence presented to the ZBA.
So, all right. So like Tom said, we have to place these in, I don't know if I agree with you that they have to come testify and saying that if you spoke with neighbors and they gave you a report that was saying that they didn't want that there and the reasoning why would that matter? Why would you be able to?
There was no testimony. There was no testimony.
Okay, so there's testimony for the lease of land evaluation just because that's the score that was provided for you prior, correct?
That was
Did somebody stand up there and testify on the Lisa score?
The NRI report was admitted into evidence.
Okay. But their opinions you had was not put into evidence. So the finding of fact from the neighbors was not put anywhere. Why did you do it?
Nobody presented any evidence to the ZBA on that issue.
Okay, but you went and spoke to neighbors, right?
Our company went and spoke.
Okay. And then when they said they didn't want it there, what did you do with that information?
Didn't say that anybody said they didn't want it there.
Okay, they did. So what did you do with that information?
Testifying to that?
Yeah, because I know some of the neighbors that did.
Okay. So you're basing part of your decision on individual conversations you had with neighbors?
On lots of them, yes, just like you are. Just like you checked that box because you did the same thing. But if you brought that same proof and are able to check that box in favor, why can't I come and do the same? If nobody testified, how are you checking the box in favor? What did you do with the information from the neighbors is what I'm asking.
The ZBA checked the boxes.
Okay.
ZBA heard the evidence. The ZBA made the decision.
Mr. Curry, just quick point. If we just ask him the questions, and I appreciate if you guys didn't get into a.
No, I'm doing it how I want to.
And I know
Chairman.
good.
So if any of those boxes, why would you stop me in front of that? If any of those boxes are checked, then you brought proof. So I'm just saying, a lot of these right here that are brought forth could be opinionated. Okay. They're open to interpretation, I should say. All right. Lisa score is obviously probably one of the most important on here. So what is your argument to that? Like, I guess if you have people that you spoke with, your company, that came out of your mouth that said that there are neighbors that did not want this.
No, I said there were neighbors who said they had no position on it.
Okay. We both know you're making that up.
I'm not making that.
Yes, we do.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Curry. Anyone else?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. All right. Thank you for everybody's comments. We'll move on to the roll call vote. Madam Clerk, if you help me with the roll call, please.
Brent Mueller,
No.
Brian Schneider,
No.
David Wiltsey,
Aye.
Carl Johnson,
Yes.
Elisa Patterson,
No.
Tom Walberg,
No.
Sherry Branson, abstain. Dana Logston,
Aye.
Marion Thornberry,
No.
Rodney Riley,
No.
Ryan Curry,
Nope.
Ray Larson.
No.
Okay. Motion fails. Mr. Larson, do you have your next motion, please?
Yes, item 10.4, a motion to approve fiscal year 2024 meeting schedule as presented.
We have a motion by Mr. Larson. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Schneider. Any discussion on this? Did we change we changed all the dates, correct? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Wahlberg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know that for the months of July and August, they have the same dates. Is that prior?
That's the way the calendar falls that month, I think, correct?
Which one?
July and August, the dates fall.
Administration and finance are on the same night?
Boone County Fair.
For both?
Yes,
for
yes.
both
Yeah.
months? Okay, for July and August.
It's the holiday.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes the calendar falls that way. It's confusing. But
The calendar falls, they have the same date to both meetings on the same night?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tom. I know where we're going, but let her.
Just to recap what happened at committee is that
Okay.
the 4th of July was a Thursday, as was a Thursday of the Boone County Fair. So the committee recommended combining those meetings in that month so that we were going to avoid those dates. So while it looks like there's an error on the calendar, that's actually what the committee voted on to bring to the board, the full board.
It was pretty much to consolidate those two meetings to make it easier due to those holiday and the Boone County Fair being.
Instead of moving it to say a Wednesday or something like that, or pushing the other meetings off. Everyone thought that that was the best way to keep things on track.
I understand. I don't remember that committee, but maybe I
Maybe you were, I don't know. If you
missed that
I
part.
missed that one. Yeah.
Was that administration?
Yes, it was.
I'm sorry.
That's why, no,
My fault.
that's all right.
So, yeah, and I just want to make sure it wasn't an error, so.
And we'll
thank
talk
you.
about the calendar later, because I do have an explanation for that, but it doesn't apply to this. I'm sorry, Tom.
Okay, thank
Okay. Yeah, we were just figured everybody be on vacation over the 4th of July and that, so we're trying
Very
to
good.
avoid that. Mr. Johnson.
Just in the vein of having 2 months in a row with 2 meetings on the same night, I'm really concerned. I mean, we have meetings, I don't know, our committee meetings last anywhere from 2.5 to 3.5 hours every time. And I understand staff will try to, minimize the items or whatever that come up. and that's all fine and good. Unfortunately, having two meetings in a row like that, I think that's going to be difficult to do. And I have, look, I like everybody just fine. I really don't have any desire to be here for 4 hours or more. I just think, I don't think we'll get anything reasonably accomplished. So I think we might be better off taking those two months and waiting till we get a little closer to see what it looks like. On top of the fact, August is typically when we start looking at the budget. So that tends to add a little more to that meeting. So if we have two meetings right in a row where we've doubled up, I think we're going to be drowning in meetings.
Just a quick comment on that. I did have extensive conversations with staff, and obviously we're going to try to make those agendas light and make those meetings work. That's what was discussed as far as that goes. Just taking the holiday into consideration and all that was the point here. Mr. Curry, did you have a comment?
I agree. Looking at what Carl said, looking at it when it gets closer, I'm not saying we can't leave it at this. We don't have to do them on the same day. We also don't have to do them on a Thursday, do we?
No.
I mean, we could hold a special finance meeting. And
We could.
do it prior and do it another day prior to the fair and understand that, but Carl's got a good point with budgets coming up and then, it's hectic. Vacation July, after July 4th. I think that's what we were talking about before, and I understand the people's argument for that, but that's just life.
Just to recap again from the committee meeting, I think one of the things that we did talk about was that as it got closer, we would see if there was a need for a special board meeting and then have people's schedules closer to that time, be able to determine maybe a better day than what we could here in January.
And there was also a concern with the meeting in July about the longer period for signs and claims, and we got that figured out as well. So I don't mind coming in more often to have to sign stuff if necessary. Did you have something else?
Yeah, I was going to say
And I got you, Dave. Hang on.
if it would also help, and I would Tricia on this, on the state attorney, is we could also probably put a placeholder on the July and August, the first one as tentative for Thursday, July 11th, if the board wishes to kind of have that as a possibility for a special meeting with that.
We could do either. I mean, we can leave it as is and adopt it, and there's nothing in the code that prevents you from changing your meeting schedule or for adding a meeting either.
Right.
But I think kind of the discussion was we would know better as it got closer.
Yep. Mr. Wiltie.
And that was going to be my comment. We can adopt this tonight. I believe the law is a 48-hour notice and we can hold a meeting.
Yeah.
So we could modify that later.
Okay. Anyone else weigh in? All right, seeing none. All those in favor of the schedule is posted, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign? Motion carries. Thank you. Anything else for administration, Mr. Larson?
That's it from the administrator.
Very good. Move on to number 11, Committee of the Whole Finance. Mr. Mueller, would you present your motions?
11.1, motion to approve the claims with the understanding Carl Johnson abstains from the voting on all claims presented by William Charles, Northern Illinois Service Company, Core and Maine, all claims submitted by the Boone County Highway Department, and all claims submitted by any county department regarding sewage, stormwater, construction, and excavation.
All right, motion by Mr. Mueller, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Curry. Any discussion?
You're not just denying you.
Hang on.
I know.
Okay over there? All right, any discussion on this matter? All right, seeing none, Madam Clerk, if you call the roll, please.
Brian Snyder,
Yep.
David Wiltsey,
Aye.
Carl Johnson,
Aye.
Elisa Patterson,
Yes.
Tom Walberg,
Yes.
Sherry Branson, yes, Dina Logston,
Aye.
Marion Thornberry,
Yes.
Rodney Riley,
Yes.
Ryan Curry,
Yes.
Ray Larson,
Aye.
Brent Mueller.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Thank you. Mr. Mueller?
Moving on to 11.2, motion to approve resolution 24-01, Joseph E. Meyer compensation in the amount of $5,500.
Motion by Mr. Mueller, second by Mr. Wiltsey. Any discussion? Just a quick for myself. Just remember again, folks, this is money that was to be turned over to the taxing bodies. I really have an issue with this. I think if Joseph Meyer send us a bill, they should have done so at this point. We heard this last week as a goodwill gesture. I have no issue with goodwill gestures. I just don't like using public's tax money to do it. So that's my opinion. I'll be voting no on this. Anyone else? Mr. Curry?
Can I make a motion to make it a smaller?
Well, you can certainly make an amended motion, yes.
Make an amended motion to grant the compensation in the amount of $2,500 to Joseph E. Meyer as a good gesture.
Okay.
I second.
All right, there was a motion, an amended motion for Curry to reduce the amount to 2,500, and that was seconded by Mr. Larson. Is that correct? Okay. We have an amended motion on the floor then. Is there any discussion on that amended motion? Mr. Wiltsey?
Just briefly, if we had not made this change, they would be entitled to $30,000 worth of compensation on the turnover of these lots. And that's why I think 5,500 is more reasonable.
Anyone else? All right, seeing none, on the amended motion, we will take a roll call vote, please, Madam Clerk.
David Wiltsey,
No.
Carl Johnson,
Yes.
Elisa Patterson,
Yes.
Tom Wahlberg,
No.
Sherry Branson. No. Dana Logston,
Yes.
Marion Thornberry,
No.
Rodney Riley,
Yes.
Ryan Curry,
Yes.
Ray Larson.
Just a question, are we voting on the amendment?
We're voting on the amendment.
Yes.
Or not as just the amendment, not the whole?
Just the amendment.
Okay.
I know it's a roll call, but I
Aye.
thought it was going to be close.
What was your vote, Mr. Larson? Okay, aye.
Brent Mueller,
Yes.
Brian Schneider.
Yes.
Okay, I believe the amendment passes then. So we will move on to the motion now for 2,500 versus 5,500. Any further discussion on the motion on the floor at this time? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, if you will call the roll on the amended motion, please.
Carl Johnson,
Yes.
Elisa Patterson,
Yes.
Tom Wahlberg,
Yes.
Sherry Branson. Yes. Dana Logston,
Aye.
Marion Thornberry,
No.
Rodney Riley,
Yes.
Ryan Curry,
Yes.
Ray Larson,
Aye.
Brent Mueller,
Aye.
Brian Schneider,
Yes.
David Wiltsey.
No.
All right. That motion carries that. All right, Mr. Mueller, on with your next motion, please.
11.4, motion to approve termination.
Point three.
Oh, 3, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
11.3, motion to approve ARPA requests from Manchester Township.
Motion by Mr. Mueller, second by Mr. Schneider. I believe the gentleman from Manchester Township is here. We'll have him speak, and then I'll open for any comments for the board. Would you identify yourself, sir, when you step up, please? And
Yes. Tim Hall, 3875 Blaine Road, Poplar Grove, supervisor for Manchester Township. I just wanted to come up and speak really on behalf. Go ahead.
Do I need to announce myself?
Please, yes.
William J. Schwartzbach, Road Commissioner, Manchester Township, 383 Rockton Road.
Thank you, sir.
I just want to speak on behalf of Jim. I know that he spoke before at the Finance Committee meeting. We don't normally come to the county looking for funds. Manchester Township's a very small township, although there are 40 miles of road. we're kind of unique in the county in that we have no subdivisions, no industry, no curb and gutter. We actually have the same amount of farmland, if not more than we used to have years ago. We have less taxpayers because there are less residences that pay a high taxes in that township. The only reason we're looking for funds is because the county has been presented with basically a gift from our government. It is your judgment as to where to use those funds. There's lots of needs. We have needs too. Again, we have a very small budget. The road budget for us is around $140,000 a year. I don't know if any of you have looked into what it costs for repairs of roads, let alone replacement of a road, which in some cases we need to do. These roads have been let go for a long time. I'm not passing judgment on previous road commissioners or previous boards, but you can't put a Band-Aid on things forever. They have to be repaired or replaced. Our roads are traveled very heavily 2 times a year. I live in a part of agriculture, have been our whole life. But our roads are really getting tough. We're not looking for a lot of money. We just would like a little help. And I know Jim had talked to you before on figures. Our payments per year are about $23,000 a year. What's left of our mortgage is around $240,000 on our town hall building. What we're asking for is the possibility to tap into the ARPA funds through the county board to pay off that mortgage. It would give us the help of roughly $25,000 a year towards our roads. So again, I would appreciate your consideration and thoughts in this. Any questions?
Okay, does anybody have any questions? Mr. Logston?
Please.
So you'd be saving the interest, right, on the mortgage?
I'm sorry, what?
You'd be saving the interest on the mortgage if you just paid it off in one lump sum? Is that how that works?
I don't believe so. No, I think it would still be the total, the actual payoff today is like 235 and a little bit beyond that, but that would be the actual payoff.
Okay, so you have a no interest mortgage on the?
Well, no, it wouldn't be. We have to pay the total mortgage to pay it off. And that's right now, it's like 247 if we pay off the whole thing to the end, about 235 if we pay it off the head.
Oh, okay, so you do save a little money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like you do with your house.
Anyone else have questions, comments on this issue? Mr. Mueller?
I agree with these guys because, with this ARPA funds, building a lot of these, buildings to help the community out. And this is one thing that's going to help the community out, and that is the lowering tax. And they did lose money through the motor fuels tax with less driving during COVID. So I'm going to have to be in favor of funding the payoff of their note. So.
Okay, Ms. Branson?
I got a lot of respect for what you guys do. And I know how it is to try and stretch a penny farther than you can stretch it. Unfortunately, as I'm looking at these things that are coming before us, I know that we've got a lot of other needs that are also asking for things. I know that I've been working on a project myself for a few years now that I'm really trying to get in place for protecting our groundwater for all of us.
And I couldn't agree with that more.
And I got to choose. And it's very, very difficult to choose between numerous projects because we've got an entire page of people that are requesting things. And I got to say no. I wish I could. I wish I had an endless bucket of money, but I just don't.
We wish we did too.
Sorry, hang on, Mr. Curry. Ms. Patterson?
I don't know what has been done yet. I mean, as far as gaining money. But one of the asks that we've made to other entities that have come before us is looking at grants, looking at other options. And have you already addressed that? Are there any?
With grants to do road work, you have to have matching funds. we don't have any matching funds. Like Tim said, my budget's $140,000 a year. That's making the building payment, that's keeping the trucks running, that's putting fuel in the trucks, that's paying any part-time help. I don't have any full-time help, I do everything myself. So I don't have matching funds, and that's what you need for a grant, is matching funds.
So what would matching funds look like?
Depend on the road project. It's right now it costs, I did a project last year, I seal coated 1 mile of road. I prepped it myself. I grind the road myself. I prep the road myself. We have the low bidder that comes in and puts the seal coat on. An A2 seal coat was $58,000 for a mile. If you do a 2-inch overlay, that's $100,000. So if you do any project, I've got 40 miles of road. I've got 36 miles of bad road that need to be redone. So to do a project, just take example, Boone Township did Centerville Road this year. That was 2.2 miles. That was in the excess of $800,000 to do that. So you get a grant for $400,000, you have to come up with $400,000 out of your account to pay that.
Okay.
The county's been very good to us and helped, I'm sorry, Mr. Curry, been very good to us along the way. You can talk to Mr. Crone about that. We get help from the county, and we're not asking for really more help from the county per se, other than the funds we've been given, that we've all been given as taxpayers. And we're just looking for a very small piece of that pie would help us greatly.
Good. Mr. Curry, go ahead.
A couple of things, and my question I'm asking you does not negate whether I'm going to vote yes or no for this. It's just something I'm interested in. Is there a program that exists in our county that if it is a matching fund, we loan out to their account? If there's a $500,000 grant and they don't have the funds in there, that we loan out $500,000 in an agreement or is that illegal? They're part of our county.
Right.
So I don't understand why we couldn't put $500,000 in their account, match a grant, they get the grant, and then on loan back, bring it back so they're reimbursed.
I can't tell you for certain that would be, oftentimes you can enter into intergovernmental agreements, but sitting here right now, I can't give you that answer without doing more legal research on it.
I guess it's just something that I want to look into just to help you guys out as well.
Appreciate that, Mr. Curry. I just look at that as the possibility of having to pay back that may put us in the same position we're in.
Sure.
You know, that we don't have the funds. We're paying our bills, you know, it's not like we're in the red. It's not like we're hurting and needing something other than our roads need attention. Mm-hmm. And we're just trying to maybe come up with an idea to give them a little more attention.
Sure.
To get there a little bit quicker and still live within our means.
Yeah. I've turned over every rock. We had John Cabello at our meetings last spring talking about different ways of funding from the state and this and that. And somebody made the comment earlier about the city of Chicago and the Democrats that run this state. They think we still drive horse and buggy out here. So we're not getting any help from that end. There's people that would love to help, but their hands are tied.
Sure.
Mrs. Branson, to your comment before, we've actually had a couple of people with the township that have made personal donations. You know, $500, $1,000, but it buys an extra load or two of rock. We very much appreciate that, but that's actually where we're at. You know, to get any extra work done. I mean, Jim plans ahead for 4 or 5 years down the road to try to get a project that should have been done 15 years ago. You know, and so now all these roads catch up to that project plan. You do the best you can with what you got, like we all do, you know.
I understand. I know Flora Township, I don't know, when I lived on Town Hall Road a couple years back, at the end of the year, they had about $100 left in their kitty, and that was it.
Yeah.
And our road was literally striped because when they paved just on the outer edges because there was no money for the middle. You know, you do what you got to do with what you got.
You know, when it gets to be February, we wake up in the middle of the night like, oh my God, you know, hopefully it's not snowing, another truck breaks. What are we going to pay this bill with? So far, we've been okay, but no extra.
Mr. Johnson.
Thank you. First, I'll say that I'm not going to support this tonight, but I don't think I necessarily want to let this die. I think that there's some brainstorming that we can try and do to try and see ways outside the box that maybe we can help out this township. Obviously, there's a lot of townships that are a lot more well off. And it's still part of the county. Our people still drive these roads. So if there's something we can do to come up with some, again, outside the box way to help out. I got a couple ideas swimming around in my head that I need to run by the state's attorney and talk to a few other people to see if it's a real viable option. But yeah, I won't be voting in favor of this tonight, but I do not want to let this die. I want to find a way to help out.
If one of your ideas is lottery tickets, we're already trying. We're already trying it.
Yeah, I would agree with Carl. I have some thoughts also, and some people that I can reach out to. So I would rather try to figure something that we might be able to do to make things happen. But I don't want to vote on this tonight. I mean, I don't want to vote yes tonight. I want to think about it, mull it over and make some phone calls.
I understand what you're saying. Appreciate that.
Mr. Thornburg?
It sounds to me like we're talking about two different things here. They come in here with a request to pay off a loan, not talk about roads. If they were talking about roads, we could probably help them because the fuel tax is for roads and bridges, and it can be used for that. And we could probably find some money from there. But I'm not sure about paying off. You can't use road tax money, fuel tax money to pay off loans. It clearly says in the law that they passed a few years ago that it has to be used for bridges and roads. You can't use it for something like we used to do. We used to drain it dry every year on everything besides roads and bridges. Can't do that anymore. The law says you can't. So
We're not asking for motor fuel money to pay the mortgage off. We're asking for ARPA money to pay the mortgage off.
I know, but we've been talking about roads and bridges and.
Well, the idea is.
That's what I was getting at. We've been talking about.
$23,000 that I'm gonna have every year, instead of making a mortgage payment, I'll have $23,000 more a year.
I hear you.
All right, anybody else? I will just say that it's a tough one. It really is. I'll have to agree with what's been said that we can put this off, but my only issue is, and I understand where you guys are coming from, we've got other, as Mr. Johnson said, there are other townships and they are doing much better. I'm just, as I've always said, we got to be careful with this. We've got a lot of projects that we were working on. We've got the property on McKinley. We've got the idea of the potential courthouse expansion. We've got a lot of projects in the works for the ARPA money. So I'm just afraid that we might be, as I've said before, we might be opening some floodgates here and everybody's going to be under the county board for this money. So with that in mind, that's all I have to say on it. Mr. Wiltsey, go ahead.
Yes, I'm prepared to vote yes for this tonight, but obviously it doesn't look like the ayes are going to have it. So I have a procedural question for the state's attorney. If we defeat this tonight, do we preclude our brainstorming that Mr. Johnson and
No, I think you can still bring back issues. There are certain ones that cannot be brought back. They're mostly are in the zoning realm of projects that are voted applications, but something that if on this type of issue that I believe it can be brought back before the county board.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Curry.
One last thing too.
Yes, sir.
Is, I was coming into tonight and not in favor. And then I thought about it on my drive-in and speaking, and we have to take care of our people. That's what the ARPA funding was created for. Yes, I want courthouses and all these things. And it's hard when you have your own people coming up here asking for help. And I don't disagree. I appreciate everybody saying we're not going to let, even if it doesn't vote through tonight, that we're not going to let it lie. We're going to at least search for some answers or some help. But the money was given to us to offset the losses of exact things like this, restaurants, businesses are in our area, farmers that are having issues, programs that have lost that money, and townships that suffered as well. And that's why we were given that gift of that great money. And I'm not saying that we have to approve everything. It's hard for me to say no morally.
Understand. Anyone else? Mr. Schneider.
I spent 25 years in the trades with doing this as a mechanic and an operator. And I don't think there's many on this board that have ever run the machines or have any idea what it takes to maintain all that stuff money-wise, what it takes to do the road work and all that, and the amount of time it takes. You know, I think this would be a big help to them. And I understand that if you do something like this for one, now you're gonna have a bunch of other ones coming over going, well, got their hand out and they want money too. But I think we need to look at also what this is gonna do for this township to make their job a little easier when they, you know, need to get going on the roads again this spring, because we all know that's gonna happen. You know, and the road thing is never gonna go away. It's always gonna be there. It's always gonna be a problem and an issue. And I think that ARPA money is there to be used to help the people and the townships and everything involved with the county, you know, and I think we really need to look at that. And I'm in favor of it, but that's.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Snyder. Anyone else before we close up for the vote? All right. Seeing none, Madam Clerk, if you'll call the roll, please. Oh, sorry, Ray. I'm sorry. Didn't see you, Ray.
I was just gonna say, you know, I'd like to just go ahead, right, and give it to you, but I think with all that's been happening, we at least gotta look at this more of how much we have, and hopefully in the end, one way or another, we can hopefully help you guys out there, so.
Appreciate it. Good. All right, one more time. Anybody else? I don't want to miss anybody. All right, seeing none. Madam Clerk, if you call the roll, please.
Elisa Patterson? No. Tom Wahlberg?
No.
Sherry Branson? No. Dana Logston?
Aye.
Marion Thornberry?
No.
Rodney Riley?
No.
Brian Curry?
Yes.
Ray Larson?
No.
Brent Mueller?
Yes.
Brian Schneider?
Yes.
David Wiltsey?
Yes.
Carl Johnson?
No.
Fails, is that correct? Yeah, all right, motion fails. Gentlemen, we will, as we've said, we will keep working on this.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you very much.
In your part, same thing. Keep working on it.
We,
All right,
we will, trust me.
all right, sounds good. All right, Mr. Mueller?
All right, moving on to 11.4. Motion to approve termination contract with Devon for CMA license, maintenance and support, subject to state's attorney approval for final language.
Motion by Mr. Mueller. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Wiltsey. Excuse me. Any discussion on this? All right. See none, correct? All right, Madam Clerk, if you call the roll, please.
Tom Wahlberg?
Yes.
Sherry Branson? Yes. Dana Logston?
Aye.
Marion Thornberry?
Yes.
Rodney Riley?
Yes.
Brian Curry?
Yes.
Ray Larson?
Aye.
Brent Mueller?
Aye.
Brian Schneider?
Yes.
David Wiltsey?
Aye.
Carl Johnson?
Yes.
Elisa Patterson? Yes.
Motion carried. Mr. Mueller?
Moving on to 11.5, motion to approve the bid from Prime Coat Coating Systems in the amount of $225,000 for the jail shower improvements.
Motion by Mr. Mueller, second. Second by Mr. Schneider. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, if you call the roll, please.
Sherry Branson? Yes. Dana Logston?
Aye.
Marion Thornberry?
Yes.
Rodney Riley?
Yes.
Brian Curry?
Yes.
Ray Larson?
Aye.
Brent Mueller?
Aye.
Brian Schneider?
Yes.
David Wiltsey?
Aye.
Carl Johnson,
Aye.
Elisa Patterson,
Yes.
and Tom Walberg.
Yes.
Motion carries. Anything else for finance, Mr. Mueller?
Got one more.
I'm sorry, yes, you do. 11.6, go ahead, sorry.
11.6, motion to approve the amendment to section 11, vacations of the Boone County personnel policy.
All right, motion by Mr. Mueller, second. Second by Mr. Schneider. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign? Motion carries. Now are you finished, Mr. Mueller?
Yes, I'm
All
finished.
right, I'm sorry about that. Thank you very much. All right, moving on, special committee reports, 12.1. Mr. Loxton, do you have a brief update on the community building, please?
Yes. Remember, we're a month behind now. So, yeah. So for December, it was a lovely meeting, actually, upstairs in the community building, catered by Wild Cherries. It was delicious. Some of you have eaten their food many times, so you know. One, we paid the bills. That was great. We donated $2,000 to Growth Dimensions. That was much appreciated. There was a vote to approve a religious alcohol exemption, which we approved. And now going forward, anyone who wants to bring alcohol into the community building for religious purposes needs to be voted on by the board in a case-by-case basis. Other than that, we talked about the 5-year plan for a little bit. Can't really give you much information about that. Just know that that's being taken care of. We're trying to figure out how we're going to replace and how much it's going to cost for new gutters that we're going to need, so we don't end up with more edifice cracking. Other than that, on January 26th, there is family movie night. It's a movie called The Bad Guys. I guess it's a newer movie, but it's family friendly. And the doors open at 6 o'clock with the movie at 6:30. There'll be free popcorn for you, but it's BYO beverages. Other than that, that's it.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Logston? All right, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. UCCI, we have any report for that? I don't think we really have anything there.
No.
Community Action Agency, anything on that? 911, 12.4. Ms. Branson, do you have a report for us this month?
I do not. I crushed a finger yesterday and I was in with the orthopedic surgeon at 9 o'clock this morning.
You just give him the finger.
The wrong one. But anyway, I didn't.
Have anything for 911?
I did not make it to the meeting.
911. Do you have anything for 911, Sheriff? No? All right, very good. All right, thank you, Sheriff. Northern Illinois Land Bank? Anybody on the horn for that, I don't think? Nope. Any other committees need any reports? All right, scheduled committee meetings. Mr. Larson, what's the date on your meeting next month?
Chairman, the next administrative meeting will be February 1st at 6 PM in this room.
Very good. Mr. Mueller, your finance meeting?
It'd be February 8th I'd like to say 6:30, but it'll be 6 o'clock.
Well, you can't let that go, can you? Wow. All right, good. And the next county board meeting will be Thursday, February 15th at 6:30 PM in this room. All right, any other correspondence, unfinished business? Mr. Thornberry?
I'm sure everybody's aware of it, but the VAC meetings are open meetings. Anybody and everybody is welcome to come and express their concerns or what have you. You don't have to be in the military to attend these meetings. Just putting that out there.
Okay, all right, very good. Yes, Mr. Lewis.
We did get something from Regional and Planning Council regarding a press release that Cindy Turner, the Director of Planning, put out seeking public input for traffic safety planning efforts. You can see it on board docs, their attachment, but it looks like on February 1st at the RMTD Transfer Center that they're meeting. I'm looking for comment.
Very good. Anyone else have anything else? All right. Once again, Mr. Crone, thank you very much for all the work you and your team did over the last week, the cold weather and the snow and all that stuff. Much appreciated.
The guys did a great job.
They do, and we couldn't do it without you. So be sure to pass along the sentiments of the county board. Great job all the way around. Anyone else? Yes, Mr.
I did have a question for you, sir. Somebody said to me one time that if the temperatures get too low, the salt is completely ineffective. Is that true, or is that like urban legend?
No, it's true. 15 degrees roughly. It starts losing its effectiveness in the 20s, and then at 15, it pretty much is ineffective. And we use a calcium, crushed calcium limestone mix, and that helps a little bit. So
is that 15 degrees above zero? It loses its effect.
15 degrees above 0 Fahrenheit, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? All right, I do not believe we have a need for executive session tonight. So with that being said, I'll ask for one more motion by Mr. Wiltsey.
Motion to adjourn.
We're adjourned by Mr. Wiltsey, seconded by Mr. Johnson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign? Motion carries. We are adjourned at 8:03 PM.
And before anybody leaves, if you have not signed the card for Becky, it's going around, please do so.
Anybody
else got payroll?
Stop the video.
Oh.